Okay, so here's what's going on. What Ray's talking about, vacation, the first week goes slowly, the second week goes quickly. The first week, the cup is empty, or pretty empty. There's nothing, there's no expectations in there. There's nothing interrupting the present moment. You're just in it. You don't know what's next. You're learning every day. You're learning every moment. Oh, that's what we could do now. Oh, that's where dinner is. That's where we go for happy hour. That's what, everything's new. The second week, now that you know what the deal is, your cup is filled. Now you're thinking about, now that your cup is full, what you have to lose. Now that you've got something in your cup. You don't want the vacation to end, all right?
Yeah.
You're thinking about that last week. Oh, God, I got to, we're going to be home in a week. Oh, what about the airline? Do we have the airline set up? Do we have our seats assigned? Do we have, what do we do with our luggage? How do we move it from here to there? You start thinking like you normally do in your day-to-day life. You're kind of going back into the grind. And yet your cup is full, and you don't want to lose that moment. You don't want to lose that first week when everything was new and bright and easy and fun, like when you were a kid, right? Just like when you were a kid. The present moment is the now. With animals, there is no present moment. It's now, 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 now. Everything is right now. And that's why kids want, what do they want? They want it now. Well, what else is there? Okay.
And they cry until they get it.
Or your animal. When do you want to go for a walk? Now. Okay. In fact, your cat will go meow now. Okay. It's just the way it is. So now is now. There is no later or, give me 5 minutes, or there's none of that. So, but when in that second week, that's where you start getting jammed up again, because now you're getting stuck in, you don't want to lose what you got. You want to keep it going. You'd rather stay on this vacation. And the only reason you'd want to do that, I don't feel like that myself. If we're on vacation, I look forward to coming back, because I love this. I love my life and my work with everything I do and my sessions with you guys. This isn't work. This is just, I get to do this. Now that's what living in the now feels like. I'm not focused on a cup that has a glass that already has something in it. My investment in time, my investment in money, whatever I do, how I calculate and measure things. I'm not at all worried about that. I'm so excited about what their guides are showing me, what I'm able to do, how I'm able to perform on it. And I get to do this. Okay, that's the now energy. That's the present moment energy. So that's what this is all about. It's about just doing everything for the right reasons, doing what you love, honoring who you are, being who you are. And the present moment becomes a mute point.
Oh, is it tied? Is the stress, does the now speed up because of the need for money?
Yeah. It's a condition. It's something, okay, see, when all you think about is, okay, when I get back home, I got to pay my bills. Am I going to have enough money? Am I going to, okay.
Paying the bills, I got to pay that bill by the 15th of the month.
Yeah.
And it seems to come quickly.
Okay, but if you came back with the feeling that, I can't wait to get back. I only got 7 days away or 10 days away, but I have the best ideas, because that little bit of time, that breath I took, that time away, that from the monotony, even if I love what I do, there's monotony in anything you do. So you need to get a break from it, get away from it, so you can start to see, out here. And you can start to, the guides can come through and say, we like it. Yeah. Okay, we want some of this. We want some of that. Ideas come. You have dreams. You have insights. You're writing little notes down all the time going, I can't forget what just came through. You're just more receptive, because you're not consumed with all the things you need to do, have to do, should do, better do, pay the bills, blah, 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 blah. You got away from the monotony. So that's what it does. Trust your universe. Quit being afraid of your life. Quit being afraid of being here. Let this work for you. And when it's time the second week before you come back and you start to think about some of this, put it in perspective. Okay, yeah, check the seat, arrangements, the reservations, the this and that. Make sure that, Uber's set to go, everything like. Be done with it. Spend 1 hour doing it. Done. And don't think about it anymore. Don't dwell on it. Don't think and let it sink you again. To keep the momentum going and let this completely play out. Sometimes the best guidance, the best insights come on the very last day of that vacation. The last day, all right? So stay out of your way. Know that it's always that present moment is the only value you have. It's the now. It's the only value you have. It's the only place. You cannot receive guidance if you're dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. You cannot be reached by your guidance when you're in one place or the other, because after all, you're not in either place. You are right here in the present moment. You can't change that. You can't, you can't manipulate that. You can't game it. You can't outsmart it. The present moment is where you are right now. It's your awareness that you need to lay down over the top of that present moment that makes that present moment matter or not, that makes sense of your life.
Right.
If you're in a hospital bed, that's where it's amplified, because now you're not there by, you're not in that hospital bed because that's where you want to be.
Right.
Okay? That's not a fun, that is really testing your awareness and your nowness, okay? When you're in that now state, and you're in that now of why are you there and what's going to happen to me now, next, that is a whole different, that's a whole different thing. That's where you hope that you've done your work, your inner work, where when you want, if at some point you wind up in that situation, that you are a good manager of your nows. You've managed yourself, your life. You've conducted your life in such a way that you have, your awareness is, you can trust it. You trust your awareness. You know it's there. You trust your universe. You know how to connect. You know how to get quiet, go within, let it come through. It's always coming through. You know how to get out of its way so it can reach you. You know how to be in your now.
What should you focus on? You shouldn't, you're doing this in the now.
Okay, so when we start this, I always go in, and I feel the breathing right now hitting me. Again, as soon as Ray says it, it's the way the guides communicate. They don't always use words. I feel this need to take a very big breath right now in front of all of you. And I'm going to do it because I can't do this without doing it. And it's about breathing. It's about releasing this and that. So you can be, while you're present, you're in the now, no matter how much you try to get away from it or outthink it, you are in the now. You can't avoid the now. You just have to trust that moment by moment continuum of time, that awareness that that's what's going on. Be comfortable with the ride you're on, and it may not take you where you thought you were going to go or where you wanted to go, okay? But you're being taken where it's your destiny to go. Your soul came here to learn what it came here to learn. And you're in a body, okay, it's got this body that it's using as a vehicle to drive you through this life, all right? And then when you get caught up in your cup, and your cup is half full, and you're trying to hold on to what you have, what you've earned, the money in the bank, whatever security you see or whatever, what you do is you try to harness the present moment, so it will never change. It will never work against you, where you have to go back into that free fall, that trusting, that now, that empty cup, that you don't know what's next, but you're ready to go. You're ready to move. You're not resisting it. You're available. You're aware. Okay, you're present. To do that, it's not a comfortable place to be. What you have to learn is you have to learn how to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, all right? So that's what it really takes to be in the now. You have to remember what it feels like to free fall and not resist it, but actually enjoy it, okay? That's what the now is. Remember what that felt like?
Okay. Now your guides have a different regard for time. They may live in, since I've never experienced what they experience, they may live in a system where time is all happening at once.
They are.
Everything's happening at once, okay?
Right.
So, their concept of the now and our concept of the now, we feel the difference is urgency. They don't seem to feel an urgency when they give you guidance to do something.
Okay, I have an answer to this.
I have an example for this from you, from the book.
Yeah.
They told you in 1994 you were going to write a book, a best-selling book about your relationship with them since you were a little girl, and they let you photograph them so the world could believe it. And you waited 20 years before you wrote the book.
That was my now. I wasn't ready until then. And then when I sat down, it just flowed right through me. That was the timing. That was the timing to write this book. Now, they don't care if I wrote the book the very next day.
That was my next question.
They don't care. They don't think about time. Okay, let me explain something, and let me take this where I was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Before you got here, and where you go after you leave this life, after you're released from this life, is where your guides reside right now, okay? And where that is where you learn and immediately go back to living in the now, in the present moment. And there is no such thing as time. So now, present moment, it's all just one thing, okay? That's why everything can happen all at one time when you're not in a physical form. If it happened when you're in a physical form, it would happen so fast you couldn't keep up with it. It would be overwhelming, okay? The fact that we live in this density and this physical world, it slows everything down. So your guides, where you came from before you got here, where you go to after you're done here, everything is instant, okay? Because there is no time. A time is an illusion. So why do you feel this, kind of aggravation around this present moment, this now, this awareness versus the past, the past and the future? And, come on, I'm so, stop it already. Let's just get to the point. That's how we feel about it, about most things. That's because you're used to being somewhere else before you got here and somewhere that the same place that you go to when you leave here. You're used to instantaneous results, all right? And I call living in this life, in the physical form, in this body, I call it living in slow motion. From the time I could first remember my first thoughts, I was like, oh my God, really? This takes forever to get through to somebody. It takes forever to get something done. You've got to be kidding me. This is ridiculous. Now, how did I know that? What did I have to compare it to? So no wonder we get frustrated. No wonder our attention spans have become shorter. It's because our awareness is heightening, and we don't like the gap that we experience in this life that we didn't experience before we got here and where we go to. There's no now moment, none of that. Everything is instant, and it happens the instant you think it is, okay? You're there, you're doing it, it's already done. That's why it's frustrating, because you remember where you came from, even if you don't consciously remember it. It's like a urge, it's like a gnawing, it's like a longing, it's like it could be, we could do better than this, it could go faster than this, All I can say is thank God for technology, because it has helped in that department. I mean, you go to get your mail, you don't have to go down to the mailbox to get your mail. I mean, you can just click a mouse and boom, there's all your mail, right? I mean, it has helped. It really helps. But we're not where we were before we got here, and we're not where we're going to be once we're released from this world. It's instantaneous, and that's why we're impatient with it. We remember something.
Okay, so when you get guidance from your guides, it's always important. The guidance is always important.
It is.
But on other times you get guidance, it has a shelf life. So it's urgent. So
all guidance has a shelf life, right?
Right. Okay, so you waited 20 years. They told you something important, and you waited 20 years to do it. They tell you somebody else, you shouldn't do this, or you should do this, and you do that day, or don't do it that day. So it's urgent. So if it's all important, then some of it is important and urgent. Right?
Okay, right.
Okay. I mean, just getting that straight, because they're always giving you important guidance.
Okay, here's how you're going to know the difference.
Yes.
You're going to know the difference right here. You're going to know it right here. You're going to feel it. As soon as it comes through, before you have a chance to analyze it, manipulate it, change, its meaning, or pretend it didn't happen. I don't know, whatever people do to the information. Before you have a chance to interrupt it, interfere with it, it comes through because you didn't see it coming. Boom, there it is, all right? And you get that instant feedback. This is your feedback center right here. And it feels, if it goes like this, yeah, or it sits here and it goes, ugh, all right? We all know the feeling. And then if it goes, we're like, oh, we don't want to even talk about that. We want to forget that ever came through. We don't want to deal with that. You really need to not do that anymore. You need to write it into your journal. What came through? The date you got it, how you got it. My Guided Journey, the journal, all right? You got to track this stuff, you guys. Write it all in there. Tell on yourself. This is guidance. The guides don't think of anything as good or bad. They're here to help you stay on your path and help you walk this journey, okay? That's what they're here to help you do. So just quit cutting it off. Quit letting it scare you. I said that earlier in this session. We've allowed life to scare us. We've been raised with that where, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. If you don't do that, that's going to happen. Something's going to happen whether you do it or not. There's consequences either way. So pick your poison. Choose for yourself what's right for you. Take your risk. Don't be afraid to do it. If your gut is telling you, go for it, and there's every reason why you shouldn't do it, but your gut's telling you to do it. Okay? There's a reason it's going to work for you. It won't work for everyone else, but it's going to work for you. And keep your guidance to yourself, because if you're telling everybody something that's really, really great that just came through, while they're all suffering, you guys, and there's a lot of that going on right now, that will go against you. That's not compassionate. That's not connected to your fellow man. We are all one.
So do I have this right? From your guide's point of view, when they give you guidance, there's an element there about how soon you have to learn something from their guidance. In your case of writing a book, it could wait 20 years.
Wait a minute. The way this came through, word for word, that's why I tell you, you have to write it down. You have to put it in your journal. When they came through to me in 1994, 23 years ago, right?
23 years ago.
Okay. When they came through to me then, and they said that, they didn't say, they said, here's how they said it. They said, you're going to write a book about your relationship with us since you were a little girl. You are going to. They didn't say, you have to do it right now. You need to start writing your book about your relationship with us. That's not what they said. That's why writing it down. How did they say it? 10 years later, how are you going to remember that? This is how you're going to do it.
That's good.
You've got to write it down when it's fresh. Okay. So did that guidance have a shelf life? Yeah. It had It had a life, okay? In other words, I didn't know when from the guidance that you're going to write a book, I didn't know what that time frame was, but this told me not right now. That's what I'm talking about. It's not just the words or the knowing that comes through. It's what you feel in your body. It's all connected, okay? You're an antenna. You're alive. You're connected. You're one with everything. Okay, that's the universe. That's everything, okay? Connected. So listen to it all. And what do you do with it? You write it in your journal. That's critical.
And you write it down exactly how they said it.
Exactly how they said it.
Right.
They didn't tell me, again, they didn't tell me to start writing a book. They said, you're going to write a book. Just like at the beginning of guiding. The first words I remember them telling me, life will get better for you as you get older if you can make it through childhood. I'm just saying that there was.
Well, there was a big if in there, and if you hadn't written it down and heard it so many times, you wouldn't have known there was an if in there, and that was a qualifier.
Because what Ray's saying is what I would have done, because if I make it through childhood, okay, I'd kind of like to forget they said that part, right? That's why you have to write it down. You've got to write it down while it's still the truth. It's not some manufactured regurgitation of what you wanted it to say.